Hey friends, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. Welcome back to, of course, Chelsea News, the daily series here where I reflect on what's been said in the media about Chelsea, giving you my opinion on it for whatever that's worth, mate, but more importantly, asking for yours. Chelsea played a game behind closed doors. Carney Chukwuemeka getting a brace and Chelsea ultimately winning 2-1. We're going to reflect on that. Armando Broja closing in on a starting spot in the Chelsea lineup, apparently. And what Callum Hudson-Odoi said and his future at Chelsea Football Club. Settle in, get comfortable, consider dropping a like please, it means a lot. Subscribe if you want to, should you choose to do so. Hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, this video is brought to you by SPITCH, the one and only, not the one and only, but the best fantasy football around. SPITCH utilizes an Optus stats algorithm which essentially rewards you for knowing about football. You can dip in just whenever you want, you don't have to commit to a whole season, you can just play on a game week, play for free, wager some money, win some money, 18 plus. Do check out SPITCH simply by clicking that link in the top of the description. Do yourself the favor, it's fun, I love it, you will too. Alright then, let's get into it. Alright then, let's start off with the Carney Chukwuemeka show. Of course, Chelsea's game against Liverpool this weekend was cancelled. Therefore, Chelsea played a game behind closed doors against Brighton. What an interesting budding relationship we have with Brighton at the moment. Not just for, of course, sending them Levi Colwill, selling them Billy Gilmore, buying Mark Cucurella, taking their entire coaching staff. It looks like new ownership group Todd Boehly and Clearlake want to sort of cultivate perhaps an informal relationship with Brighton. Looks like they're just good mates at the moment. So we played a game behind closed doors. Chukwuemeka scored both goals. I'm going to read an article on the Evening Standard from Nizar Kinsella to give you some context about what happened. Chelsea defeated Brighton in a behind closed doors match on Saturday with Carney Chukwuemeka getting both goals. The match was played at the Amex Stadium in Brighton as Graham Potter led his side against his old club just over a week after leaving in a £20 million compensation deal. Both sides played a mix of senior and youth players as they coped with the cancellation of their Premier League fixtures due to the lack of policing after the Queen's passing. Those players who faced RB Salzburg in midweek are due to join up with their national team squads and were allowed time off for the semi-competitive training match. It meant runouts for the likes of Christian Pulisic, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Trevor Chalobah, Armando Broja, Dennis Zakaria, and Conor Gallagher. Very interesting there. Dennis Zakaria, I mean, we haven't really been thinking about this guy much, have we? He's yet to make his debut for Chelsea. Granted, he didn't, hit the heights of expected of him at Juventus, but this guy was a really, really impressive performer in Borussia Mönchengladbach in the Bundesliga. I think it'll be quite interesting to see him play because he's probably the most, conventional CDM that we've got in the squad should we want to play a non-regista CDM holding player. Really, really interesting to see Carney Chukwuemeka take his chances here and score both goals from midfield. That should impress the boss, Graham Potter. Now, I don't know if Carney Chukwuemeka's been called up for an under-21 squad or anything, but this is a good opportunity for Potter to look at him closely and have him for serious consideration moving forwards, because if we're going to get, win games, we're going to need to score goals, and goals from midfield is always welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Granted, it's a semi-competitive game behind closed doors, but this is an opportunity taken by Carney Chukwuemeka, so we'll see what happens there. In terms of the other lads, we know what Ruben offers, we know what Conor Gallagher offers, we know what Trevor Chalobah offers, but people like Dennis Zakaria and Carney Chukwuemeka, it's important they get a run out and perform. This actually takes me to the next part of the story because Armando Broja also featured, and an article on The Sun is saying that he's pretty much ready for a starting spot now. He's impressed Graham Potter that much that he could be Chelsea's starting striker. I did a video on this the other day about my preferred lineup. I wanted Broja to start. This could come to pass. Let's jump into the article now and see what's being said. Chelsea star Armando Broja impressing new boss Graham Potter in training and closing in on a starting spot by Alan Nixon and Alex Smith. Armando Broja is catching Chelsea boss Graham Potter's eye and he is close to earning a starting spot. The young striker made a big impression in training, and the new Blues manager, Potter, may put him in the starting 11 soon, despite the summer arrival of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Off the bat, you're thinking, ooh, Aubameyang and Kai Havertz both might not like the sound of this. Of course, both are great players in their own ways, but in terms of, the destruction and sheer high-octane performance that Armando Broja's displayed in limited time, he just looks like a whole different prospect for the opposition, or a different question being posed to the opposition, one that often they don't know how to deal with. But of course, the caveat of that is, eventually, your strikers need to score goals. They can link up play, they can drop deep, they can cause chaos, but they need to score goals. The ex-Brighton boss started Aubameyang in his first game in charge versus Salzburg in the Champions League, but took him off for Broja after 66 minutes. Potter is never scared to back his judgment, and insiders have revealed that he is raving about Broja's potential and ability to fit into his system. He may want to implement a pressing system, which is one of Broja's strengths. The 21-year-old was loaned out to Southampton last year and impressed, netting 9 times for the club. Despite plenty of attention in the Albanian over the summer from the likes of West Ham, Broja stayed at Chelsea. He was used by Thomas Tuchel 6 times this season, with all appearances coming off the subs bench. So shout out to Tuchel, he was turning to him, or even if it was off the bench at the beginning of the season. Understandable, I don't think he was being misused by Tuchel at all. Chelsea have struggled without an out-and-out centre forward in the team, with Kai Havertz leading the line this season. The German has scored just 1 goal so far this campaign, and in Potter's first game as manager, he was used as an attacking midfielder instead. This could give Broja the chance to become a regular starter for the club. According to reports, Inter Milan could look to loan Romelu Lukaku again next season, further shortening their attacking options. Interesting. I do wonder if Romelu Lukaku's completely dead in the water here. You'd have to imagine he is, just because he's got such a profound love affair with Inter Milan. It just makes you think, ooh, wouldn't it be funny if Potter brings him back and, uses him somehow, but I'm not sure he would. He wants this high-octane pressing system. Lukaku, he does work with Lukaku. There's a misconception that he doesn't, but he doesn't fit the system still. Still, Armando Broja is really positive news for me. I want to see him, you want to see him. He signed a new deal, he's been at Chelsea since he's a lad. It's another positive academy story, which is a feel-good fuzzy, you know what I mean? And I'm here for it, I've got no issue for him starting. In fact, I'm willing to try anything at the moment, and if it looks like he's going to actually give a damn and run at the opponents and cause chaos, I don't think we've had that since Diego Costa, so yes, please. And I do genuinely really like Kai Havertz. I think he's an amazing talent, but he's going to have to find his way back in. I do think he's a little bit a victim of circumstance in terms of his player profile, but I think Potter will find a way to make Kai Havertz work. But in the meantime, let's get Armando Broja on the pitch, and let's move on to the last part of the video, which is also staying on the Cobham graduate story of Callum Hudson-Odoi. Of course, Cho is enjoying a loan away at Bayer Leverkusen this season. Leverkusen wanted to buy him, but new Chelsea co-owner Todd Boehly blocked the move and had a sit down with Callum Hudson-Odoi and said, look mate, we don't want to lose you. You're so important to this club. And Callum Hudson-Odoi has emphasised this in a recent interview with the Daily Mail, that Chelsea were happy to loan him and give him this opportunity in the Bundesliga, but really wanted him to know that he was part of Chelsea's future. He's still 21, 22? He feels like he's been at Chelsea forever. Of course, Callum Hudson-Odoi really did impress in the Champions League against Atletico Madrid, and despite their poor start in the Bundesliga, that was a high-profile, impressive showing from the Chelsea youngster, playing in the number 10 role, generally involved in both goals, if not getting the assist. Certainly looked great on that second in transition, dribbling round people and shimmying, and essentially looking like he can light up the biggest stage. Todd Boehly and Clearlake have a long-term plan. They want to buy a second generation of players behind the current. Yes, they've bought senior players and recognise that, but they want these players 19 to 22 years old. Maybe you just about squeeze Mason Mount and Reece James into those because they're about 23, both of them. But then you've got your Armando Brojas, your Callum Hudson-Odois, your Conor Gallaghers, your Cesare Casadets, your Carney Chukwuemakers, your Amari Hutchinson, who by the way scored 2 goals on his debut for Chelsea. The list literally goes on. Todd Boehly wants all these youngsters to know that they're going to be kept in Chelsea's mind, and they're going to be, developed and cultivated into this one ongoing philosophy and ethos at Stamford Bridge, hopefully for a long time under Graham Potter. That's the plan. I'm going to cite some of Callum Hudson-Odoi's quotes from the Daily Mail next to give you some context with how he was feeling at Chelsea before he went to Leverkusen. Quote, "It was one of those difficult moments when you have to look at yourself and say, what am I doing wrong? Have I done anything wrong to not be in the squad? I would never say anything bad about Thomas. He was a good guy, a good manager. But the first game of the season was frustrating. Any footballer that isn't in the squad would understand how frustrating it is. Regular football gives you consistency, and the more games you play, the more consistent you become, the more form starts to kick in. You feel fresher, you feel better, you feel like not just you're getting treated fairly, but that you've got the trust from the manager to push you and kick you on. You don't want to be on the bench thinking, why am I not playing? And then it becomes weeks and weeks, and then the legs are rusty when you do play. The most important thing is consistent football. That's what I'm getting here at Leverkusen, and it's making me feel better. Right now, playing games, momentum's kicking on, and you feel refreshed, new country, brand new experience. It's definitely refreshing to know I get the opportunity to play games week in, week out, enjoying it and smiling. Nice to hear as well, and I'm sure he's got no problem with putting in excellent performances on the world stage in the Champions League against the European giant in Atletico Madrid. Can't do him any harm at all, although their form does need to pick up in the Bundesliga. Look man, this is exciting. I feel good about it. I watched his first goal and assist at Stamford Bridge in the Europa League all those years ago, 2018 I believe it was. If Callum Hudson-Odoi comes back to Chelsea and is a starting winger, it will be another feel-good story. I know not everyone cares about the Chelsea Academy, but I do. So if we have a lot of academy players in there starting together that have been at Chelsea for a long time, it means a lot. And of course have a smattering and mix of other players in there as well. There are other stories going around the media at the moment about, N'Golo Kante. Chelsea have a risk of losing him at the moment. I'm going to wait till that develops a little bit more before I reflect on that properly. Of course, Chelsea have so many midfielders now as well, and there's talks about Jorginho being linked to Barcelona on a free transfer next season to replace Busquets. Probably would actually suit him quite well on reflection, but again, I'll wait for a little bit more time before I reflect on that story. In the meantime, I will probably wrap it up here, guys, so I'd urge you guys to drop a like to support the channel if you're that way inclined. You're welcome to subscribe, and yeah man, I look forward to reading the comments down below and seeing what you guys think of the subject matter. Take care, fellas. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me baby.